Scot Willey, and I'm a captain with Cal State Fullerton Police Department. It's actually a day that I will never forget. I was on duty at Cal State Long Beach Police Department as a detective, and we started hearing about the plane hitting the first building, and then we went in and watched the second plane hit the other building. And then ironically, we got a call of a possible bomb threat, which turned out was happening all over Southern California and probably the country. But our whole department responded to a call of a person that had driven up quickly under our administration building with a big van that had a big box in the back covered by a blanket and took off running. And so we confirmed that. Long story short, we had to set up a perimeter about 300 yards. We had to evacuate everybody, all while 9/11 was happening. So obviously everyone's nerves are already on end, and we had to clear out the buildings and call in the bomb squads from LA and Orange County, and they were all busy with a lot of calls. So it took about 3 hours. They finally got there, and then they basically blew up the windows of this van with charges. And you have to imagine at this exact same time, all 23 campuses were told to shut down for the day by the chancellor's office. So we had thousands of people leaving the buildings, going back to the parking lots, walking by our perimeter, and we're blowing up this car, and we had to do it twice. They had to do it twice. So there was 2 explosions that scared everybody to death, and we had to try to calm everybody down and let them know what was going on. And turned out it was a student that was late for class that had a refrigerator in the back of their van covered by a blanket. His friends had said, "Don't do this, that looks weird, it looks not today." But he was late, so he just parked in a handicap zone and took off running to class. And for us on that day, I'll never forget that, because we had so much going on at Long Beach State, and it's something that I'll never forget. So 9/11 changed me as well as the entire country. I think every citizen in this country before 9/11 had felt a kind of a sense of security here. We thought there was nobody that could come to our country and touch us and attack us, and we never felt vulnerable. Everything changed that day. And from that day to this day, that hasn't changed in any of us, I don't believe. We're all very sensitive to things that are going on around the world now and how that can affect us. We know that we're not impervious. We know that we can be attacked at any time in any way. There are people around this world that that don't like us for different reasons and will come up with any type of way to attack us. So all the security measures and things we have to do in the airports and all that, those of us that went through it, most of the country, don't have any problem with the things that we have to do in airports, because we didn't have to do that prior to 9/11. So, they've made some appropriate steps. We haven't had attacks since then, thanks to a lot of our law enforcement personnel. But I mean, it still affects all of us. And not only the families that are still grieving, but also all the first responders that are still dying from the effects of being at ground zero and being affected by all the chemicals and everything that they were inhaling. And while they were being heroes, they're dying still to this day. So it's something that still affects all of us that went through it. So I think for me personally, it was just trying to get outside of my little bubble that I was living in and open my eyes that we can be affected at any time by anything from around the world. And we're seeing that even today. Yeah, it's interesting because we grew up as children of people that went through World War II and other, Vietnam. And now we're kind of that generation that we're starting to see college age students that are coming up that never knew about 9/11, and where we're going, no, you need all those precautions that we're doing. I'm kind of glad that you all didn't live through that and have to experience all that, because it is a life changer for a lot of people. And again, our sense of security and all that is pretty much gone. You know, even today we have a bomb detection dog at our department. We use that for all of our large events and for speakers that come through, and those of us that, you know, again, there's no question for us on why we do that. It's not that we think that we have any danger here. We've never had a threat of that here. However, we know that we need to take all the precautions just like the rest of our country is doing. So I think that's probably maybe the only frustration, because I have kids college age, that maybe they don't get that sometimes, but at the same time, I'm happy that you didn't have to go through what the rest of the country was going through, especially those that were in New York and that were affected by that directly.